Hello and welcome to Elephant and Roses. My name is Katie. So today I'm going to go through some sewing, some knitting, and some crochet. So hopefully you enjoy this content. Please leave me a like and a comment below. So let's start with sewing. There's a lot of sewing, and then I'll go to knitting and crochet. So the first thing is that I normally buy everything on Remnant. So I've hit a few different fabric shops that offer Remnant material here in the Northeast. One of those places had a markdown pattern. I normally don't buy patterns for, this one was $3.99, but I really like this view here. Hopefully that shows up. I don't have anything with an asymmetric hem like that, and I really liked it. I thought that was kind of a cool detail. So, and the other two views are pretty cool too. The one up here is very similar, and then that one down here, the red one, is easier to see than that one, but the hemline's the same except for that's a short sleeve version. And then there's the curved hem, which is that one. So I normally don't buy it. I was in a rush that day, and I normally am very careful when I do buy the big 4 patterns, because when you go to the back, the finished measurements, I don't know if anybody else has had this, but they're not accurate. So you always want to slide the pattern pieces out of the envelope very carefully in the store and check to see what the measurements actually say on the pattern pieces. And I don't know if anybody's ever really paid attention. I'm going to put in another picture so it's easier to see. But right on the pattern pieces, it will say the final finished measurements. And when I got home, I looked up the pattern and I discovered that the reviews on Pattern Review for this one says, everybody says, I did it, it's like it's 2 sizes too small. It is 2 sizes too small. The sizes on the back of this compared to this is 2 sizes smaller. So of course, I was in a rush that day, didn't check, so now I have a pattern 2 sizes too small. So does that mean the pattern's not usable? No. So I'm going to grade the pattern up. So in a future video, if you'd like to see how I grade a pattern up, I'm glad to do that. It's not complicated, but it's still frustrating. You pay that much for a pattern, and then you got to come home and you've got to grade it up because you were in a rush. So I'm mad at myself more than anybody because I knew that. I knew that you should always double check that. And I normally do not spend that much for a pattern. I wait for sales. So I live in the United States, so getting the Berta Style magazine is not an option here, but the website does have the Berta Style magazine patterns on it. So, and you can buy them. So they usually have a sale at least once or more times a year, and I can get them from 75 cents up to $1 to $2 a pattern. And usually with the Berta Style patterns, if you've never seen them, it's usually, if it's a top, it's also, there's a dress with it that's the same style as the top, and vice versa. So you usually get 2 patterns for the price of 1. The other thing I do is self-draft patterns. What I'm wearing today is my only finished object, and this is from my own pattern. I self-drafted it. And I know that sounds intimidating, but my best advice when you're first starting out, how do I make it my own pattern? I have the gripping roll of tissue paper I get off of Amazon, and I trace out pattern pieces. That's how I started doing it. Now I don't. Now I just freehand draw. I'm good to go. But when I first started, I took, just because I was running into the problem. I was a new mom, and anybody who's had kids knows your body does not bounce back right away. And I couldn't find clothes that fit right. They would fit in one part, but not the other part. And it was just like, this is ridiculous. And so how I started all those years ago was I found a bodice that I really liked, fit great. And that was the first piece. And then I found sleeves I really liked. So then I took the tracing paper and I traced off that bodice. And then what I did is the bodice with the sleeves that I liked, I retraced the arm socket to match the other the pattern that the sleeve actually belonged to onto that bodice. And then I traced the sleeve, and then I found another one that I like the neckline, and I like my necklines a little bit bigger because then it's not like you feel like you're being choked up here. And but I don't like the boat neck because that goes too far out, and I don't have very wide shoulders. So mine is somewhere in between, which I like. And then the other thing you get to do is, for like me, I'm narrower in the shoulders, so my shoulders are like this wide, so I could bring this dimension in. And I found a top part of another bodice where the shoulders were absolutely perfect. So trace that on there, and then get out a French curve and start matching all those lines. And I found another bodice with a neckline I loved, so I put that on there, and then I made the first one and I used material that didn't matter, so it was just a toile, so I could see, okay, am I close? And I was. And then I figured out, okay, I need it a little bit wider here, need it a little narrower there, and voila, I had a pattern, and I could make a whole bunch of tops really fast then. Just something simple and easy to do. So that's my advice when you first start out trying to make your own patterns. Just use what you have. If you have a top that you love that's ready-made, trace it. There's lots of videos out there to show you how to do this. So you don't have to spend a lot of money on patterns. Patterns can get expensive quickly. So I usually buy patterns because there's something on it that I like that asymmetric hem. I really like that. It's something that I can incorporate back into the different blocks that I have, the pattern blocks that I use. So that was the first thing, and this is my finished object, and I'll stick pictures in of this top. The fabric came from my girl Charlie, and I'll link their website down below. They are not sponsoring this by any means. I just love their website for buying my knits. Tried lots of online stores, didn't have good results. I believe this is called a Liverpool knit, so it's got a little bit of a texture to it, so it doesn't look like a t-shirt fabric, so I can get away with it for wearing it to work. And it's a really good color. It's a black with this teal colored roses on it. The pictures will show it too, but the color really pops, so I really like it. This is not normally a color I wear, this teal color. But you're going to find that I somehow gravitated toward it this spring. So I will go to the next thing that I got, which is I got some pink. This is for aprons. I need a couple of aprons, so I have enough here to do this. I use home deck fabric for my aprons. I find it holds up better. It's usually got some kind of a stain resistance on it, so it doesn't absorb all the stains from cooking and everything. So my aprons will look a little bit better, a little bit longer. So when I'm done with that, I'll show you definitely what the aprons ended up looking like. Next thing I got, so this is a wool and linen blend. So still trying to bulk up my spring and fall wardrobe, so this will turn into probably a pair of trousers for work, or maybe a skirt. Could potentially be a dress too. I got enough yardage so I could kind of play with it and maybe get a couple different pieces, maybe a shell and some trousers, and I can throw a cardigan over it. Trying to always make sure I have a couple different options for what I end up making with it. So then I got this, I don't know if it's going to show. Yep. It's a Swiss dot. It's raised dots, and hopefully that shows up. Yep. And it's a knit. So that was on Remknit too. I think it was $2.99 a yard for this, and I'm pretty sure this was $2.99 a yard too. Again, it was at a sewing store here in the Northeast. I just went on a trek one day and just said I need to get fabric. There's not many fabric stores up here, so finding stuff is really difficult, and I didn't want to order stuff online. So this is another piece I got. It passed the burn test. and hopefully you can see the pattern on it. And it's either a cotton or a really lightweight linen. It's super soft. And again, it fell into this, it's not showing up very well on the camera. It's more this color than on the camera. It looks more blue. So that's kind of strange when you see that. I'm not a blue person, so I don't wear many blues. And then this I know has got some poly in it. It's probably a poly cotton blend. Hopefully the stripes show up. Yep. This one I'm thinking for a nice button-up shirt for work. I just don't know which pattern to go with. I know it's got to be a button-up shirt. It should be collarless because otherwise I'm going to have, I don't think I could get enough of the stripes without getching the flowers and then cutting off the flowers. I don't think I'd like that look. So definitely I'm looking for inspiration. I have a black pattern for a stripe for a button-up shirt. I may just go with that, but I don't know. It's a really pretty pattern and fabric, so I really like that one. So if you have a pattern you think this would look good with, please definitely leave me a comment below. Next item. So I quilt as well. So this is quilting, and there's a big stack of quilting cotton here. I'm not going to pull them all apart, but it's a bunch of remnants of quilting cottons. Wrap quilter. So I will cut these up into 2-inch squares and just start going through my scrap bin of my cottons and figuring out what ones will go with it. And it's just grabbing a block and just designing something I like. I follow Lori Holt's design board ideas, so everything goes on these design boards. If you've never heard of Lori Holt, definitely check out her website. She does have a YouTube channel. And so I made myself some new design boards. I put a decorative stitch here along the edge. So I've got a whole bunch of these ready to go. And how Lori Holt designs things is that she puts all the blocks onto these design boards, and then they're all organized together for one block, and then you put the next one on top, and you make the design boards with foam core and quilting batting and binding strips that you just make with quilting cotton. So it's real easy to make the design boards, but then each block is on that board, and then you put the next board on, and then when you're done making the block, it gets iron pressed and put back on that block, and then you do the same with the next one, and they're all stacked up and ready to go. So then they're neat, nice, tidy, and it makes it really easy to assemble a quilt. I've been using her design boards for years, and I love doing it like that. So her patterns are really pretty. If you're a new quilter, she shows lots of tips and tricks, and I've learned so much from her over the years. I came from a family of quilters, but I've learned a lot from Lori. She's got lots of tips and tricks and some beautiful designs. So definitely check her out if you're a new quilter and you're just starting out and you've got ideas. I highly recommend Lori Holt. So that's the end of the sewing side of things. Next I'll move to crochet. I only have one crochet, and I'm using this yarn, and it is, does it say lichen is the color? Lichen, and it looks like this. And it's a free pattern from Drops. So I'm now, I have the sleeves done. Hang on, got it twisted. So the sleeves are done. I'm probably getting a plain yarn chicken with this thing. The store only had basically enough, plus I think it's 15 or 20 yards that is going to be left to spare. In those normal situations, I would buy an extra skein. They didn't have an extra skein. And I've looked in other stores. I can't find this color. So we're going to play a little bit of yarn chicken. I don't know if I have enough. If not, it'll just be a little bit shorter than it's supposed to be. But I'll pop in a picture of what the finished sweater is supposed to look like. I really like it so far. It's got these really cool bobble details, and it's got a stripe that runs through here. It's got some really cool techniques, and I'll definitely link the pattern. Hopefully you can see that detail here. It's really cool, and it just keeps you engaged and your mind engaged. It's not like a mindless crochet project. You really got to pay attention to the pattern, and especially after these bobble rolls, my advice is if you do this pattern, make sure to count your stitches before you start the bobbles. Make sure you're dead on center, and then after you do the bobbles, make sure to count again, because up here I didn't have any issues. But when I got down here into like right here, and I just down here, I ended up with my rows off. I don't know, my stitch count was off when I got done making the bobbles. I'm making them exactly as they show on the website. It wasn't a lot of stitches, but then the next row below that, I had to do some decreases to get myself back on count. So that's my advice. Make sure to watch that stitch count. Okay, so next, knitting. So I started this Friday tee from Petite Knit, gosh, a while ago. It took me forever to do this collar because it was in Italian cast on. I'd never done that before. And trying to get it to cast on right took me forever to learn. And I got it going, and I really like the combination. This is I grabbed some scrap bags from Holsgarn, so I'm gonna have to put the colors in because I can't remember what they're called, and really like the way it's looking right now. You can tell it's not on its needles because there was a problem. So the pattern has these really cool stripe details. Hopefully that shows up, which is what I really liked. This lighting isn't the greatest, sorry. I will also snap in a picture and stick it in so you can see. So it's got these lovely stripe details down the front. And, well, they go across like a raglan. They replace that line that you see with raglans. They have these stripes instead. And I made a mistake on one of the rows a ways back up, and I decided to ladder back to fix it. And I fixed it, and it was an entire row, so I had to fix the whole stripes. So I went one column at a time, and the first couple looked just fine. You can't tell at all that I did it. Hopefully that shows up. But then when I started doing the others, and I've done this trick how many times in my life, it just looks awful. And I cannot figure what happened. I'm not sure. I'm going to try and get a better shot. I thought maybe I goofed. I tried to rip back again. Didn't work. Don't know what I did. So I took it off the needles, and it is currently in a timeout while I try and figure out what to do. I have knit and crochet since I was a child. I do not remember never knitting or crocheting. I grew up in a Danish American family. That was our quiet time. From the time I was little, I was probably 4 or 5 when they taught me how to chain stitch on a great big wooden crochet hook. And that's just what I've always done. So I've never ran into that before. I've had to ladder back before. to fix a stitch. So I'm not sure if what I did. So the plan is this week I'm going to go through the directions again, make sure I didn't miss a step when I was laddering back, like I missed, I missed something, and try again laddering it back row by row, and see if I can get it to work. If it can't, I'm going to have to frog it and start again, and I really don't want to have to do that. I really like this yarn combination. Holskarn is beautiful. It's there's super soft wool, so it's just held single. I know everybody says don't do that, it's too fragile, etc. It is not. I am really impressed. This is supposed to be for spring and fall, so that's why I went with this wool, because spring and fall can be chilly in the Northeast in the US, and but at the same time I wanted something, and I made it big enough that I can put like a turtleneck underneath it. So, if it's a chilly morning, I've got something to cover my arms. And it's also short sleeves, so it'll be nice because, the days aren't that cold. They usually warm up as the day progresses, so having short sleeves would be nice. So I've never tried doing this with wool before, so I thought it'd be a fun project. And the color combination I just love. I think it's just such a good combination. So hopefully I can figure out how to fix that. Next project, I found on Drops this really pretty knitting pattern. It's like a cable pattern for a sweater. Didn't want to make the sweater, but I love the cables. So I have some leftover Hobby 8/4 cotton, and that's the cream, and that's a sage. Hopefully those colors come through okay. The lighting is not cooperating today. And but I really like that cable pattern, so I just started in the round and just made a band at the bottom, and then I'm just going up. My daughter says it looks like the color combination looks like they're from the 1930s. It's really blowing out the colors right now, because it's cream and sage, and so I'm just knitting bottom up. When I split for the sleeves, I'll figure out what to do for the sleeves, the collar, all the rest. I'm just going in the round until I get the body the length I want. I have to order yarn. I am out of the sage. I still have some of the cream left over from a previous project, but I think I'm going to order more of the cream to make a cardigan. I have the novice cardigan I made from Petite Knit with Holskarn held double, the super soft held double. Turned out beautiful. I used the mohair pattern. It worked phenomenal. So the plan would be to make another novice cardigan, except for out of the 8/4 cotton from Hobby in the color cream, which hopefully, I don't know why that light is just doing it today, but it is really blowing out the colors. So that is all of it. There's not a lot done as far as projects aside from a new shirt. But a lot of things on the needles and on the sewing machine, and plans for more clothes for fall, spring. I still have a few weeks until fall hits us, so but yeah, it's been a crazy few weeks here at my house to talk to you, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Please definitely subscribe if you like my content. Please leave me a like and a comment below. Definitely let me know if you know of a pattern that would be really good with this stripe and roses. I definitely love to get that input from you guys. But thank you again, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.